Hello and welcome back to your latest Fit Finance session with myself, Tim Webb, and Henry Ellison. Tom isn't with us today, he's off sunning himself somewhere, but today we thought we'd do something a little bit different, something that we haven't done before, and that is introduce the concept of finances to your children and how best to do that, both in terms of vehicles in which, or how best to go about investing or putting some money aside for your children, but also just some general skills and little habits that you can help build on them earlier in life, which obviously clearly as they progress through life will do them well, and I'm sure develop good habits in the financial world and with their finances. So first things first, in terms of how to actually put some money aside, or the best ways in which to put some money aside for your children, I think Henry's got some key ideas to be sharing with us. Henry, do you want to fire away?
Oh, I have, Tim. You're absolutely right. Yeah, I mean, I think when we first started thinking about talking about this today, that I spotted an article in The Guardian that was that brought up the idea of children's trust funds, which were a concept that was set up in the early noughties by the Labour government then, I think, and for some children received £500 just for being born, and others only got 250, which is pretty good. And all this money got paid into accounts. The scheme stopped in 2010, so sadly, for those born after 2010 or before 2002, you won't have got any money. But there's a big section of children now who are approaching 18, whereby these funds are going to be available to them. So there's the Child Trust Fund, as I say. Typically, it was invested in cash, although you could invest it in investments. And I think you could invest up to £9,000 a year into one. They then brought out something called the Junior ISA, and the Junior ISA works in just the same way as a normal regular a NISA, as it was known for a while. But the savings limits were slightly lower, and they remain lower. So today you can save up to £9,000 a year into a Junior ISA, and the money can be invested in the stock market, and just in the same way that you might have your own ISA invested, or it can be invested in cash. And actually, typically with these children's accounts, you tend to find the rates of interest are better than they are in adult accounts. I'm not quite sure what the reasoning is behind that. It's probably a banking marketing strategy to try and retain those children after they turn 18. But I think there are some accounts paying 2.5% interest, which is pretty extraordinary in today's age. Both Junior ISAs and Child Trust Funds are available and freely accessible by your child when they turn 18, though. So one needs to be a little bit careful when saving towards these vehicles, that your child is not like I would have been at university and goes, brilliant, look, I've got a few £1,000, I'm going to go and spend it down the local nightclub or the local bar. But they're a great vehicle for building up some money, and then hopefully either using towards your university education or putting towards a house deposit further on down the line. I think the other one that's commonly used to save for your children, and in fact I was talking to some clients just this morning who were doing this, is the old premium bonds. So you can make regular savings into premium bonds. I think the minimum amount is £50 a month, and you can win anything between £25 up to £1 million. Currently, the rate of interest on them is the average prize rate they call it. It's about 1%. But the chance of winning $1 million are still there. And I know historically it's been a really common place to save for children. And it's a little bit of fun, and it certainly introduces children, if they get involved into the concept of saving and having that with the premium bonds, perhaps having that regular income being paid back out to them.
Brilliant. I suppose it also does introduce into the concept of gambling as well, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
However, brilliant. Right. Okay, fantastic. Well, those things are useful, aren't they? And also, I suppose with the bonds as well, it's not something which will automatically switch into their hands when they get to 18 as well. So it's perhaps somewhere where I've got some clients who want to put money away or assign some money away for the children, but almost don't want the children to know about it, and at least don't want it to automatically fall in their hands just as they're happening to start Freshers Week. perhaps.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's.
I think that's interesting, isn't it? And I have similar conversations with clients as to where the best place to save money is. And certainly I find that clients with daughters are quite happy to use junior ISAs, and clients with sons want to find another way of saving, but the last thing they want is their sons getting hold of 10 grand when they turn 18. And of course, using your own ISA allowance might be a way of doing that if you're not fully funding your own ISA allowance and just earmarking it for your son when he turns responsible at some point.
Whatever that may be.
Whatever that might be. Have you got strategies, Tim, of how you would encourage said irresponsible son to to become a responsible saver and a responsible to their money?
I absolutely do, yeah. Although these things perhaps should have been applied a little bit earlier than 18, but yeah, for the younger kids out there, families out there that have younger children, just a couple of concepts, I suppose, that I came across in an article not too long ago now, but a couple of basic ones. Start off nice and simple. Lead by example. Don't be a fool with your own money. And obviously, when young children are very malleable and sort of monkey see, monkey do. If they see daddy and mummy being silly, spending all their money, not being able to afford things, basic things, and we have to put food on the table, perhaps. That's not going to be teaching them sort of the discipline and sort of the idea of how microtransactions build up to a bigger goal that they could be working towards later on down the line. So number one, lead by example. Number two, sort of nicely bridging across into that, with the whole microtransactions thing, is setting a goal, setting a savings goal. I think my very first budget that comes to mind, at least, was my 50p monthly, God, wasn't that hard done by weekly packet to save up for my sherbet lemon. After a couple of weeks, I could go down to the shop and buy my sherbet lemon.
It shows the age difference between you and I, because 50p would have got you a bag of sherbet lemon.
Well, yeah, okay. Well, maybe I got or something back in the old day. But yeah, obviously it depends on age and how developed they are and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, just the idea of teaching them that actually, short-term sacrifice for long-term gain. Don't spend the money now in order to be able to build up the pennies, build up the pounds, to be able to buy something better on later on down the line. And obviously that's something which we're doing all the way through your working life and your adult life. Is obviously the ultimate thing. Delayed gratification is retirement. You build up your wealth throughout your lifetime with the ultimate goal of retiring and no longer having to work. So that's sort of a level one way of showing that. And I think another way, I suppose, to reinforce that is the idea of paying bonuses. This particular article mentions deductions off the back of that as well. If for example, you set them tasks, I know for me it was ironing and washing and all that sort of stuff. But if these things are done without prompting, without you needing to get on their back and whip them to get them to do it, then you pay them a bonus. You encourage sort of this self-revolving motivation to do these things and help to get some money. Deductions, I'm perhaps a little bit less keen, but obviously depends on your parenting style. I don't know about you, Henry, but
It's really interesting. I just do it by deduction, and it actually makes me wonder whether or not I'm doing it the right way. So they start with £2 a week, and then it's reduced from there, dependent upon behaviour and performance. But I wonder, maybe we should do it another way and start I don't know, 50p a week, and then through good performance reward good performance. I suspect it's probably a better way of doing it.
Perhaps, yeah, perhaps I would. I don't have children now, but as and when I do, then I'll probably put the motivation first and the reward behind the motivation of doing something. But hey ho, yeah. So there's three concepts there, three little skills to be building up in your little ones, and some ideas of where to put the money yourself for them as and when they become of age, or suitable sensibility of your choice. So brilliant. Well, I think, has you got anything else to add, Henry? I think that's a super ending point. So I hope that's been useful, and brilliant. Yeah, we'll catch you in the next episode next week. Thank you very much for listening.